it's Rockin' P here. It's a chilly night here in Missouri, and we thought we'd go in the shop. I have my dad here. We're going to do an in-depth look at what's on our pulling tractors. I hope everyone's having a good time at Gordyville. We wish we were there, but our next event's going to be the Cowtown Showdown. We're going to pull on March 14th at the day session. Everybody be there. So let's get in the middle of these tractors. Alright, Dad, let's talk about the Osage Outlaw here.
Alright, we bought this tractor in 2005 or 6, I can't quite remember. It was basically a bone stock tractor with stock clutch, stock transmission. It had a 292 gas motor in it back there. It turned quite a few RPMs. We could run 5 grand. We ran 18 438s on the tires. It did have a makeshift roll cage on it, nothing fancy, but basically a stock tractor. We pulled it for a couple years in that state. Basically pulled it in Division 5 with the antique guys. So we pulled it for 2 years like that, and then we decided we needed a little more, which in tractor pulling, that's the progression. That's usually what happens. So then we put a turbo on it with an updraft carburetor off of an airplane. Worked all right, but we kept blowing head gaskets, and we were really trying to do it at a very low budget back then, and pulled it like that for 2 years, and finally we broke the crank on it. So then it was in teardown stage. So it stayed tore down for 6 years until it looks like it is today. So,
alright, Dad, let's go to the 460 now.
Okay, the 460 we bought a year after this tractor. We were having so much fun with this tractor. My dad was pulling back then. Jackson was just 3 or 4 years old. And then I had a cousin that was pulling with us. So we had a trailer big enough to haul 2 tractors. So we bought this tractor from another puller that we still pull against today. But it had a tricycle front end. Basically the same setup as this. Had a 292, but it had a downdraft carburetor. It had a Holley 4-barrel. We ran a little smaller tire on this one. We ran 15 538s just because we could go brush pulling and pulling a stock class with it. We had a lot of fun with both these tractors with them 292s. You couldn't go to any association. We did a lot of brush pulling, antiques. We had a lot of fun, but we wanted to make a bigger move. But so this tractor here, we blew it up, of course, and we took both blocks to a builder, a race car guy, and it took him a couple years to put the motors together, but we built them up so they could handle them turbos. So both of them were set up. Well, this tractor here, we got one motor done. We got this tractor going, and ran it with a turbo for a year or so on gas. And we had quite a bit of fun, but we were breaking heads. What else? Breaking everything. We broke the bull gears. We reinforced them. We tore the transmission up a couple times. So we got the motor running. We finally figured it was running lean all the time. So we finally put a carburetor on that wouldn't run lean. We got it going. Came out of gear. The motor revved to, I think, 8,000. Turner rod bearing. So that motor was junk. So luckily we had the motor for this tractor, which the only reason we didn't put the motor in this tractor is because I didn't have my clutch ready. So put the motor in that, and we pulled it a little bit to finish the season. So then coming into winter, we decided we're going to put that tractor on alcohol. So put it on alcohol, put a full alcohol injection system on it, we still had stock gears.
Yeah, still had stock gears.
Still had stock gears. Yeah. Put a big set of tires on it. First hook of the year was down at Lamar, Missouri. Not a very good track. Get it lined up. It cleans out. It goes. Going on a good hook, and we shelled the transmission completely out.
Yeah, it was bad. Very bad.
So, of course, everybody knows in tractor pulling, you just can't get parts overnight. So we had to have a whole new transmission built, new shafts, everything. So we set the whole year out waiting on parts. So the next year we come back out, and We pulled a little bit. We went to a few pulls, and there the alcohol was. We just could not figure out the alcohol, and we were at a local pull. Dad was pulling at the time. He pulled this tractor most of the time when it was an alcohol. I don't know if I ever pulled it, but he revved it up as much as he could, and we never could get it off the line. So we came home midnight at night. We had a discussion in the driveway, and we decided, heck with this alcohol motor, we're selling them. So we got on pull off, and we found a diesel motor, a 301 diesel, and it had a P pump on it, 400 series injectors. It had turned a lot of RPMs at one time. It was actually built to run 2 turbos, but we just ran it once, and we put it in this tractor.
And then come out of Wisconsin.
Came out of Wisconsin, and we didn't have a lot of money into it. It was a pretty good deal for us. So we sold the 2 alcohol motors that had all the alcohol stuff.
Yeah, they sold pretty quick too.
Yeah, we sold them pretty quick. It worked out for it was a good for everybody. So we put the diesel motor in this tractor. We hooked it one time, found out we didn't have enough clutch. So the clutch wouldn't hold the motor. So we didn't pull the rest of the season with that. We set out the rest of the season, which we discovered that the clutch wasn't going to hold in late July. So it was fine. So we waited for a clutch. Well, while we're waiting for a clutch in that tractor there's had 1, 2, 3. This will be its fourth motor in this tractor. So it's been down the track, not a lot because we've had so much motor problems with it, and transmission problems and clutch problems, and we're hoping we're trying to get it where we can get it down the track. So while we were messing with this one's set for 7 years without being moved. Which we had it in another shop. We built this shop. It's set here in the corner of this shop for a couple of years while I was just accruing parts. I'm not financially set enough where I can just go write a big check every year. So we started off, I bought the injection pump and a set of injectors and the clutch. I had the clutch. So, of course, I had the rear end of the tractor, and I saved up for a couple years, and I put a Haslag full tube chassis on it, kind of as you see it. And then I had a motor that I had bought, and I was going to build it myself, and I kind of talked myself out of it. And we got hooked up with Prairie Performance in northern Missouri, and he built me this motor. So things started coming together pretty quick on this tractor, and
the motor that was originally supposed to be in that one is now in this one. So.
Right. Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, that motor there that I was gonna build, I ended up buying another motor. Prairie Performance put it all together for me. Put the motor together, linked my stuff that I had already bought, and the transmission was basically bone stock when we started. The only thing I did, I sped up the constant mash. So I was using bone stock gears, pulling. I think we were running in 3rd gear. I'd get down the track. I won a few times on that setup. Never tore the transmission up in this thing. This thing ran 2 seasons on stock transmission.
1.5, yeah. Yep.
With a pure stock transmission in this 560 rear end. So, put it in there. We started running in mid-July. Yeah. And finished out the season. Had a heck of a good time. So, we finished out that season. And this tractor here, we never could get it to run right with that 301 diesel motor. Kept slipping time, so we just we were having so much fun with this thing, we kind of put this tractor to the side.
We sent that one to the dyno.
Yeah, we sent this one to the dyno.
And we were messing with fixing the time on this one, and we eventually got it to stay. And once it stayed, it got down the track a little bit, but it was never real competitive. But yeah.
No, it was a 301 running in a 360 class, and the head on that 301 diesels don't flow like they do in these 360s. But we ended up in that 301 bending 6 rods, all the push rods, broke the block, and we ended up selling that motor.
Demo motor.
Basically gave it to a guy. The head was still good, but yeah, that little tractor's tore up a lot of parts. So So where these tractors set today, they are what we call in Missouri here is light profile, which it's pretty big here in Missouri. This class is, and I think there's Kentucky runs a few classes. A few associations run it. I don't know if it's the exact same configuration as what we've got here, but they pull together at Gordyville. So
how many hooks did they have at Gordyville this year?
I think there's 10.
10, yeah. So
Last year at Cowtown, I think we had 14 hooks in this light profile class. You get a lot of color in the light profile class. Basically, there's 2 to 3 motors that pull. You got these DT 360s and the 5.9 Cummins, and then there's a Ford that runs a four-cylinder motor, that's a cool tractor.
pretty cool, yeah.
And there's a few other configurations. There's a Deutz that runs a Deutz motor, but there's lots of color and some hard running tractors. So what we got is a DT 360 out of a bus or anything, but it's a 360 cubic inch international motor. It's still stock cubic inch. That's what our limit is. The head's been honed, did everything to the head we possibly could do. And then we run this intercooler, and you can run any turbo you want to run. There's no limits on turbo, but you got to run the 3,000 RPM. And the other limit is 18-438 tires at 6,000 pounds. On the 6,000 pound light profile class, we've got to run 18-438 tires. There's a lot of different configuration here in the here in Missouri where we pull. The deep treads have really caught hold the last few years. We went to buy a set of deep treads and they were out of them. So we're running a little different tire than the rest of our class. They're called extended cuts. We just put them on in August.
Yeah.
It got about 4 or 5 hooks. We're kind of working out a few gremlins with them, adjusting our air pressure and all that stuff, but we think it's going to work good. This tractor, we're just going to run the old-fashioned double cut 18-438s. They are the deepest cut we can get with the old style tires, but with that rear end, we're not looking to hook up. And this tractor is so much lighter than this one, we can put more weight on the back. But right now, we're just going to run them tires. They're good tires. We took them off this. I think they're 2 years old, but I think it's going to work good. I won several events with the old style, but this year we got to the point where we just couldn't hook up and thought we needed a set of deep treads, and that's the way we went.
Yeah, when we've gotten it to hook up, we've done really well. Just managing that tire pressure and the way we needed it to. But yeah, they've definitely worked out when we've gotten things right.
Yeah, this year we've battled. We think we got a bearing catching in the rear end, so that's what we're gonna do, a tear down on that rear end as soon as we get our parts. But we're hoping we get that done before the Cowtown Showdown. But anyways, yeah, them deep treads, I think they're gonna work. Yeah. So we run a crazy high gear ratio on them, so we got lots of wheel speed, and if you can't get it hooked to the ground, you're just turning wheels, which everybody knows that.
Yeah.
These little motors with that intercooler make a lot of horsepower for what you get. Mm-hmm. We have lots of wheel speed. We've been recorded. I think in Nevada last year we went down the track at 29 mile an hour. I think, if we get hooked up better, we're definitely faster. But we're zinging the tires. So this tractor here is the exact same thing. Everything's the same. The only difference in this tractor is we're going to run a frozen boost intercooler, and this one's got a precision. I don't think that makes any difference. But both of them have all Atlas gears in them. With these 4 and 560s, you got to take the shaft out of them. You got to put a straight shaft because the torque, you will tear that torque apart. So we run straight shafts, and then we got needle bearing rear ends, and that's about it on these tractors. Do you have anything to add, Jackson?
No, right now we're just waiting on a flywheel and some gears for this one. But other than that, we're just doing little things. Gonna hopefully get the intercooler mounted and maybe some tubing done, or I don't know what.
Well, this one, we're doing a little bit more of a budget build on this one. We really aren't for sure what this rear end will take. I know they ran them in alcohol motors for years in the 80s and 90s and 70s. I mean, this motor is a 59, or this rear end's a 59 or 60 model. So we're not for sure if it can handle the torque of these motors. And I'm not going to tell you what the torque is, but it's a lot of torque you can put with these motors with them intercoolers. So we're not getting in the middle of this one. We're just trying to get it down the track and have fun. My dad's going to probably pull this mostly, and maybe my nephew. And if they don't go, one of us will pull it. But we're building this tractor for his grandpa and my dad to get down the track. So we're hoping everything holds together. We're hoping with the 18-438s that it won't hook up and tear that rear end up. But we're trying to reinforce it. It's going to be a learning curve. I know there's a few guys that are running them, so we're hoping it works out. But this tractor here, these 560 rear ends, you don't have to. We've been down the track 50 or 60 times with this and haven't had a problem, knock on wood. And we're just ready for 2020 to get underway. Like you said, we're headed to Cowtown Showdown in March. It's a big event up in Kansas City. Nice facilities. I encourage anybody to go to it. You get to see a huge variety of pulling tractors and trucks and
all around the states. It'll be March 14th. We're going to be pulling. I think there's 6 sessions starting on Wednesday night. We went last year and we had a lot of fun. We got 3rd place. Hopefully I have some more luck like we did last year. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. The people who put on know what they're doing. And yeah. Anything else?
No, if you guys have any questions about the tractors, don't forget to put a comment down. We'd be happy to answer any questions. We love to share our knowledge that we've learned. We've learned everything the hard way almost. So I don't know too much about any other brands of tractors except these 4 and 560s. Jackson's probably the youngest kid that can tear one of these rear ends apart with his eyes closed. We've been into both of these tractors so much that one thing we forgot is they both do have 3-disc clutches in them, Atlas clutches. You have to run the 3-disc behind these motors. Just because, especially in our area, we run on tough tracks. So we actually had a 3-disc and couldn't get it to hold. We had to update that 3-disc. We had to put a weighted fingers on it and change the disc around. But we've got it to hold. It ran 2 solid years and didn't have no problems. Other than that, they both have the same GT42 turbos. Nothing fancy on turbos. I know you can run a nice turbo, but we seem to get along with these DT360s with just a stock GT42. But if you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask. So,
I'm going to be posting this on hopefully Facebook and YouTube. My YouTube is Rockin' P. Like he said, that both of these tractors were basically stock at one time. I mean, everything you see is we built it, and I've been there all the way. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I enjoy working with my dad and grandpa, and it's been in my blood since, I've been pulling garden tractors since I was little bitty. So yeah, tractor pulling is definitely in my blood, and I really enjoy working on these. I hope you guys enjoy this. We'll see you in the next one. Peace, Rockin' P.